When I was a kid, me and my sister, we played a game where we pretended to chase monsters away. I'd say, no monster's gonna get you when I'm here. Then a real monster showed up. I have to find her.
The world's growing smaller every day. Up there on the surface, the topsiders are leaving the undercity further behind.
I believe I've discovered something incredible. A way to harness magic through science.
You don't understand what's at stake.
Power doesn't come to those who are born strongest. It comes to those who will do anything to achieve it. Imagining yourself a hero. Then what are you waiting for?
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for Act 1 of the League of Legends animated series, Arcane. I'm Ashley Hobbley. Joining me today, reformed League of Legends addict, Dylan Blight.
Reformed? Yep, hello.
So please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot, themes, and ending of the series so far. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. Let's jump into our discussion of Arcane. Cred for TV by Christian Linke and Alex Yee. Story by Christian Linke, Alex Yee, Connor Sheehy, Ash Brannon. Based on League of Legends by Riot Games. So we're talking about Episode 1, Welcome to the Playground, directed by Pascal, Charrue, Arnold, Delord, written by Christian Linke and Alex Yee. Episode 2, Some Mysteries Are Best Left Unsolved, directed by Pascal, Charrue, Arnold, Delord, written by Nick Luddington, and The Base Necessary Violence Needed for Change, directed by Pascal, Charrue, Arnold, Delord, written by Ash Brannon, starring Hailee Steinfeld, Mia Sinclair Jenness, JB Blanc, Kevin Alejandro, Harry Lloyd, Josh Keaton, Yuri Lowenthal, Remy High, Jason Poisah, and Mick Winger. From the Undercity to the City of Progress, journey to where magic and science collide in the world of Arcane, a new animated series from Riot Games. Dylan, obviously, like I said, you're a long-time League of Legends fan. Obviously, we're like on the back end of 10 years since League of Legends launched. This series was announced a while ago. We've kind of been tracking it for a while. How do you feel about, the first act of this story?
I really liked it. I think it's really good. I think it's hits on all notes of both being something that you don't need to have played League of Legends at all. Like, you could very much just watch this by itself, and I think the writing and the characters are strong enough to stand on their own. I think the animation is really good. I think you could 100% go into this no idea and you're going to be fine, which is obviously good because it is a brand new series, and most of the time I hate when things, if it's based on something that, it's then a requirement that you need to have watched or played or whatever the other thing that's sort of connected to. This is not that. That said, if you are a League of Legends fan or a reformed addict like I am, then you will get a kick out of a lot of the little things and the like, oh, this is how that happened, or, like just there's like teasers and like wonderment, like, I'm seeing someone like Echo in this and going, oh, look how young Echo is, and like, how's he grow up to be a sort of, I don't know if it's, so this is the thing, I'm like, is it spoilers to be like, that character's actually like important, you know what I mean? Like, or like, for someone who doesn't know League characters, is it a spoiler to be like, Echo is a somebody and not just a random kid, like that sort of thing?
No, I don't think so, I don't think it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that he is one of the 157 champions currently available in League of Legends. So
yeah, it's like one of those. Well, I'll try not to. I guess just in case people listening to this who haven't played the game, I don't know. It's like a fine line to play. I just won't spoil too. Like, I don't know if it's important or not. Anyway, like other people, like one of the doctors. Like the bad guy's the one who makes like the potions and stuff.
Sorry,
I'm pretty sure. Well, not the main one, but the one who
Silco
got blown up, who I presume is not dead, because I'm pretty sure that's actually going to turn out to be a character called Singed from the game, or that's what they basically imply. I've seen a hot theory already on Twitter about a certain character that I don't know if I want to say or not because I don't know if it's like too far and kind of spoiling an emotional beat, but that would be something certainly interesting. But a lot of my favorite, so some of my favorite characters are in this. We're just not seeing them in their proper form. So we see like maybe one scene with Caitlyn in it. She's one of my favorite champions from the game, which is like the family that Jace was staying with, right?
Okay, so she's the little girl.
She's the little girl, yeah. Okay, so she's one of my favorite,
sense.
and also Jace is one of my favorite characters. However, him in this is nothing like him when he's actually at his full potential years later, when he's got his whole thing together with his hex tech gadgets and stuff like that. I think it was really funny seeing Heimerdinger in this because Heimerdinger is a character I fucking hate in the game. Basically, any little yordle motherfuckers, like, just wait until we get a show that has like fucking Teemo in it, and then the memes are going to be at like full potential of just bloody cartoon characters. Everyone thinks
still
cute and
6
adorable,
episodes
but
left.
it's just like, yeah, like poisoning everyone. Teemo's not going to show up in this. I'll be highly surprised. But the one we do get, Heimerdinger, in the game, his powers are all like plopping down little turrets and shit, but they're like super charged up hex tech gadgets. So interesting to see him here, who's like
very anti hex tech,
very anti, like magic and stuff. So that's like super interesting. I don't know who. I was really intrigued by the person Jace gets the crystals from as well, because it looked like a Rise type character to me, but I don't think it was supposed to be. I don't really know. It's like someone who's obviously like an actual magic user and like an actual arcane user. So that's super interesting. But in general, I think the world is also really cool. Like, and the way it's all put together, and you've got, the slums and the rich upper class and all this sort of thing. And I think that's the most important thing. The biggest takeaway is you get, really it's 3 episodes, but it's a 2-hour movie. Like, and that's why I really like that they're sort of splitting this up now, because you know that the next 3 episodes is going to have the same feel. It's just going to be a 2-hour movie. I presume that's how it's sort of split up.
Yeah.
And also they're going to have these time gaps, or time jumps, I guess, between the 3 acts to a degree. And that looks really, really well. And by the time you get to the end of the 3rd act of this, like, the last 15 minutes of the final episode is like fucking insanity, intense, emotional high. Everyone's crying and people are dying left, right, and center. Like, shit is going off. So I think this was really, really good. I wasn't that interested when they announced it because I just didn't think it would be done well. And then I remember when that first trailer dropped and I was like, oh, this looks like it actually has a lot of potential and effort and money put into it, and isn't just a like sort of game cash in. This looks like it could actually be really good. And yeah, watching this, I think this is really, really good. Like, just as a standalone series, and also as a someone who likes League of Legends lore and as a game, I guess.
Yeah, as someone who's got very little information of League of Legends lore, other than what I've picked up from playing like Teamfight Tactics or like casually looking into League of Legends to try and understand why people love it so much. Yeah, this was great. Beautifully animated. I think the animation is like really well done. I think the closest thing I can think of to it currently is it's like a slightly more realistic look than Claws, the Netflix film from last year, I think, which has a very similar like facial style. Yeah, it looks really good, and obviously like it's got some really good action and that kind of stuff. Like, everything across the board is like really well animated, like the magic and the blowing shit up and like and even the choreography, like some of the sequences. Like, I think one of the cooler sequences in the show, or like one of the most impactful, is like they show the same bomb going off 6 times, yeah, from different points of view and everything. And yeah, as someone who's obviously, I feel like I'm missing certain parts. Like, there's like certain objects.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like they're holding a different object or like a different weapon or something. I'm like, oh, I'm sure that means something. Like,
Well, like, for instance, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say, but, and this is just as an example to prove why it doesn't matter, is Jace's weapon is a hammer, right?
Yes.
Like this, it's a transforming hammer. And there's that one photograph they show in the background at one moment where he's like a kid in his house with his mum, where he's like holding a hammer wrench object type thing. But so obviously
You
see that
mentioned
like,
something
hey,
about doing hammering or something.
like his family, yeah. But so I'm like, hey, but to everyone else, like you,
It's like,
you don't need to get the, it doesn't matter. We'll get there anyway.
Yeah, I just love the world as well. Like they've obviously, like, again, 3 episodes in, but they've built this like interesting, obviously, dynamic of like the overworld and the underworld, the haves and the have-nots, and and obviously they've got that history of them, of Vander is, previously leading like a rebellion, original character, I believe.
Maybe.
Maybe, assuming it's not, turns out to be somebody else.
I have a theory, but we'll see.
Well, I'll let you run your theories towards the end of episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to say that one because...
No, it's an extra spoilery part of the episode.
Well, yeah.
But yeah. Obviously we open with the rebellion and like our 2 main characters, we're assuming. V and Powder.
Vi
and Powder. Have lost their parents and it being adopted by Vander. But then we obviously jump cut a couple of years later to them breaking into like the main city and like with their team of misfit kids. And I think across all those kids like had great chemistry and it's like a real group.
Rip.
Obviously Vi, the leader and like the best one amongst them, Hailee Steinfeld, obviously giving a great performance. Like I think I don't know what the other 2 kids' names are. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I cannot remember either.
I think it's like Milo and
Milo sounds right.
Milo and
something.
March or something like that.
Not important.
Yeah, but her telling the skiddier one, every time he sees this face, it means shut up. That was a great sequence.
And he keeps talking, and just her face, like the way it's animated, of her just being like,
yeah. It's pretty great. How did you feel about the Vi Powder relationship?
I guess other than just the general world building and really using the lower and the slums and the upper half and Piltover and stuff, which is sort of the main standout thing. The relationship between those 2 characters is going to be the key for the show going forward because they're now at the end of this, going into the next 3 episodes, they're going to be enemies. So to get to that stage, you had to build up and really make the final moments of this episode only work if you fell for them actually caring for one another. And I think Vi, the way they write her, it really shows that she does care for. What the fuck did they call her again? Sorry,
Powder.
Powder. Yeah, I keep forgetting because
it's
like
Jinx.
She's Jinx. Yeah. Powder. Yeah. Because there's like that one scene they could have had her almost like be a little bit more tough because it's like, oh, Vi, she's like super tough. But even in that one scene where it sounds like she's saying something bad and Powder walks away, she's not actually. She then says she doesn't butt in and like all this sort of stuff. But Powder just hears her say, she does stuff up sometimes, and then she walks away from eavesdropping in that door. But there's no moment in the show really where Vi ever doesn't stick up for Powder, and you see that real love for her.
Yeah.
Even at the end when she's taken away, she wanted to go back for her, but Powder doesn't know that, and now
she never will. Yeah.
Yep, shit's fucked.
It's like, yeah, that might be one of the most gut wrenching moments of TV this year.
She's not my sister anymore, or whatever the line is.
No, just even her, like them fighting initially, and Mia Sinclair, Jenness, like saying, "Why did you leave me?" and like telling her that she was just trying to help and stuff after killing everybody, pretty much.
I feel like there was also Powder crying at home and like freaking out really shows the sort of like that more, I guess, manic side of Jinx, which will come to fruition in when we get the next episode. So that's like part of the character, and that was sort of a hint at that. But also the distress, and also I guess the hidden trauma that character has from even stuff we'd seen prior to this episode, like what she's been through. Okay. And then Vi, who acts super tough and is the leader and all that, you got a moment where she's under that crushed rubble that was very similar to, it actually reminded me of the whole Tom Holland Spider-Man moment in Homecoming, when it's the one time that character breaks as well and like starts crying and breaking down under there. It's the one time you see Vi break down, just be like a little girl basically, instead of the tough brick shithouse she is.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the Vander character. I think he's like obviously a gruff leader type who's obviously had a history, but he's protecting everybody. He's got this obviously interesting dynamic with the inspectors or whatever, enforcers, of like being the person they go to. They need information, kind of being the in-between, and kind of like, he's kind of like, I'm too old for this shit to a certain degree. But yeah, I think he's really great. I think a lot of the underground stuff is really good across the board. And then I guess I want to call, I don't know, is it a B plot? We've got the Victor Jace, like discovering Hextech stuff. So what is Hextech and how big of a deal is it in League of Legends?
Huge deal. So there are characters that use Hextech, like gadgets and items and stuff. Some of the items you can craft in the game when you're playing it, something like a Hextech revolver or Gigablade, or I know that they might change the name since I last played, to be honest, but like stuff like that is all Hextech items, where they're guns or blades that have like magic infused arcana abilities. There are entire characters whose origin stories are because they were made from Hextech and with Hextech. And then a lot of the characters, I presume, will also will have their powers and their gadgets and their abilities and their origin stories tie heavily into Hextech or magic. Not everyone who uses magic is using it as via like a gadget or a form. There are obviously just magic or arcana users in the universe, but it's almost like a lot of them come from a different. I don't actually know the official word League of Legends uses, but like a different plane, a different like part of the world. Like different to where this show takes place. But yeah, it's super important.
Okay. So it's kind of them like discovering it. I don't know how they're discovering it and what it really means. I don't think they gave a clear indication of that. It's like, we got this gem to do something, not explode. And that's kind of
I guess they don't want to go like too all out the first time you see it, because then it just would seem, I guess, sort of unrealistic as far as like magic stuff goes. But the idea is they honed magic into being a controllable substance, I guess. So then they can now start experimenting more and discover how to use it in different forms and ways to do different things.
Yeah. I thought, their kind of story is interesting in how, like, are they going to stick? Obviously, I've known nothing about these characters. Are they going to stick together? Are they going to be best buds? Are they one of them going to turn on the other, corrupted by power? Is it all going to go downhill?
I actually don't know much of Victor's. Victor is a champion. Mm-hmm. I don't know barely anything of his like origin in the game. I've never read it, and he doesn't look anything like how he looks currently.
Yeah,
without saying like what happens.
It's obviously got armor and stuff on in the game and stuff.
Yeah, like Jace still looks like Jace to a degree. Like in the game, he's got the hammer and the armor or whatever, but Victor doesn't look like this scrawny assistant dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I really love Termdinger's introduction.
Just waddling.
His whole, head
like,
first.
The fake out noise thing, the typical, steps down the corridor, and then the camera's slowly like tilts down.
Yeah, his head popping in. Even them doing the keys and they have to kneel down to get the door open. Yeah. So obviously the other big plot point, obviously Silco, some sort of bad guy who's behind like some sort of potion stuff that they're doing. I don't know. Did that ring any bells for you, or does it seem?
I'm not sure. There's like I said the other person I'm pretty sure is Singed. But the main, I don't know who he's supposed to be. And there are plenty of characters who, like, there's a character called Dr. Mundo, for instance, who
He's like a Dr. Hyde.
He's like
Jekyll.
and he like throws potions and stuff and uses a cleaver. So I don't know if that's, I don't think it's supposed to be the same character at all, but yeah, there's like few characters who have sort of scientific, weird, experimenty type things that go on with them. I mean, so I'm not too sure.
But yeah, that's kind of interesting, and obviously him leading a group of there's a lot of stuff that I'm assuming we're going to get explained over the next few episodes. But yeah, really enjoyed it. It's beautifully animated, like we said. What obviously we're expecting some sort of time jump next episode.
Yeah, we're going ahead like at least several years.
Yeah, it seems like from the little trailer, Vi's imprisoned and that kind of stuff. So yeah. So what are your crazy theories? For people who don't want to be potentially spoiled or not, I guess tune out now. But yeah, what are your crazy League of Legends?
It's just that I think what's the one who we think died? What are they calling him? Vander. I think Vander.
Well, I don't know if he died. Like, obviously, he took a bunch of that potion and then he kind of.
Yeah, he's like on the ground.
Oh yeah, he's dead. Yeah, that's true.
Like, and he thinks he's dead. I think could be Warwick, which is basically a werewolf in the game.
Wow.
But a werewolf that's explained to have been experimented on by Singed. So it sort of fits.
Yeah.
And would fit. And when he took the potions and originally, this is someone I saw someone point this out on Twitter. So it's not like my wholly original theory, but someone said, and I rewound it quickly, you can hear like the Warwick growl noise, basically, when he first appears after taking the potion. And it's there. I mean, it's subtle, but I could definitely, unless it's that thing where I'm like, I've read something and now my brain's like just sort of
picked it out,
injecting it. Yeah. But I mean, that could be a thing. Could be Vander might not be gone for good. Vander could be coming back as basically a werewolf, more or less.
Yeah. Okay. Any other crazy theories?
I don't really know because, as I said, most of the characters are pretty straightforward. I'm just interested to see how they get from point A to point B, and I'm also intrigued to see where this show ends and if they're trying to do a multiple season thing or it's just a one and done, and where they're trying to go with the rest of the, I guess, League of Legends characters in the universe. I'd be surprised if it's one and done because Jinx is sort of one of the most popular characters, and that's obviously why they chose her as the
one of the keys
first show. Like, let's build a show around Jinx, basically. So she's super popular, but I don't know if they're gonna like try to build up other characters or combine things or so. I don't really know. I would love, if you want to be like, oh, who would you love to see? I'd love to see, one of my other favorite characters is someone called Oriana, who could come in maybe towards the end of the season when they start and like messing around with hex tech stuff a bit more. Yeah, I don't really know who else. To a degree, I don't really want to get to a stage where it's like
everybody's a person.
Cameo. You know, like here's all the characters. Like so far, I feel like everyone who's there makes sense.
You would much prefer to have everyone there and then everyone to be fleshed out. Then
yeah, I don't feel like anyone's not there. Like anyone who's there is just being forced in. Like everyone who's there, their backstories in the game, like that's where they were born. that's the person they grew up with. That's who, like, their backstory's already explained that they were friends with or met or whatever else, that sort of thing. So, yeah, you don't want to get to a stage where it's like cameo by this person, cameo by that person.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. If we can get, like, an epic conclusion the same way we got this third episode, I think, yeah. If anything hits the emotional levels of this again, I think we'll be in for a treat. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I reckon at the end of the, 6th episode, it'll just be face-off time again, right?
Probably. That would make the most sense then, you know.
Yeah.
Then
I don't know what happens at that point, but...
Yeah. I assume Jinx shoots her in the head or something. thinks she kills her, yeah. That kind of stuff, so yeah. Alright, let us know what you thought of the first act of Arcane by letting us know on Twitter at explosion.com/Twitter, or jump to a Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Twitter, on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, or on Podchaser, and tell people about the show. And if you like this episode and thoughts with it all, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support and buy us a coffee. So, we're going to be back next week to talk about Arcane Act 2. But until then, thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.
You've got a good heart. Don't ever lose it. Protect the family.
Are we still sisters? Nothing is ever going to change that.